Halfway is an important juncture for the season. We just about reach the end of spring, and the summer and autumn become very important bastions on the horizon. We start tonight at the little circuit that could. This is Lime Rock Park, which punches well above its weight, but this is a circuit beyond circuits where every driver should know it like the back of their hand. It has been iRacing's basic for over a decade. Welcome to the Simify MX5 World Sim Series. It's round 5 and we start with the Club Series. Here to get ourselves underway. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone watching around the world. My name is Jake Sperry. Alongside me in the booth for this one, a welcome on his GSRC debut to David Christie. We've got, of course, on the cameras for this one, Daniel Costello. He's using the cameras provided by Dougie Beard. But to Lime Rock Park and a circuit here in Lakeville, Connecticut that has seen just about every type of racing, bar the big wings, finding themselves out here and challenging. For those who are here for the first time, let's get a look at what makes this circuit unique with our GSRC track guide.
Welcome to Lime Rock Park. Located in the northwest corner of Connecticut, this unassuming little track has garnered a surprisingly passionate following. Its unique aspects create a circuit not only full of character, but consistently challenging even to modern race cars. While it has 4 different possible layouts, on the classic version, only 7 corners are split along a 1.5 mile track with just a single one of them turning left. Though simple in appearance, most drivers will tell you that trying to be fast here is anything but. The run down the front stretch into Big Bend offers pretty much the only viable passing spot, but it's a double apex right-hander which lures drivers into taking it too fast. The uphill is also scary quick considering its lack of runoff and can sometimes cause cars to get airborne over its crest. Then, on the opposite end, the downhill sends cars diving into a quick sweeper, which requires a good exit speed in order to defend or attack back into the first corner. Modern racing mostly uses the more recently built chicanes, especially at the uphill. But one of the most unusual facts about this track is that the races are never held on Sunday. Due to a legal agreement with a nearby church, events must take place on Fridays and Saturdays. The confines around this place are tight, the passing opportunities are few, and mistakes are usually punished with race-ending damage. With most other road courses now being built with upwards of 3 and 4 miles in length, this track stands out. But in an age of multi-million-dollar facilities and flashy buildings, this quaint small circuit manages to keep fans coming back with its intimate and grassroots setting.
There is something about circuits like these that have that charm about them. This is one of the few circuits that breaks all the rules of track design here, David, because you get a look at this circuit and you realize with the layout that we've got here today, there's only going to be one left-hander.
Exactly, and it's such a special circuit for myself as well. This is one of the first tracks on iRacing that I fell in love with. Of course, part of the free basic package that you get when you subscribe to the service here. But being a 1.5 miles in length, it really, as you said on the intro there, punches well above its weight. It shouldn't be as good as it is, but it is just so much fun with the elevation changes and the really tight twisty corners. So like coming up uphill and then going through into the diving turn. It's just going to be absolute chaos here tonight, and the drivers are going to absolutely love it here.
Yeah, this is going to be one of those circuits that you keep in mind for a long time. It has remained unchanged in its layout since 1957. Of course, they have added over the years the likes of the chicane layouts that have gone through at West Bend and the uphill. But this is the Club Series, and this does have a bit of weight to it because the top 10 from this series will book their ticket to WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca in December. They will get the back 10 spaces on the grid should they do that. It's Christian Bissarov, who currently has himself top of the championship, 40 points clear of Luis Suarez in second position. Michael Ellett finds himself third ahead of Sandavara, with Damian McMullen rounding out the top 5. Rene Zegelar finds himself 1 point back, with the Scot David Mitchell there in 7th position. Thomas Martinez in 8th, leading a cavalcade of drivers. Pedro Marimon, who finds himself in 9th position, and the top 10 are rounded out by Brett Wright. That's how they look in terms of the drivers who is in. but it's just as interesting here, David, when it comes to the teams.
It certainly is, and as you said, all roads leading to California at this point, December the 22nd. That's the big date that's in the drivers' diaries for the end of the season and that grand final in a championship that I really don't think that we see the likes of anywhere else in sim racing. You know, you've got a lot of community events, you've got a lot of club events. It feels like this event really mashes the two of them together and does it so well, Jake. And you can see that by the big numbers that turn out for the seasons on this. But coming back to tonight here at Lime Rock Park, it's one of those deceptively simple circuits here. As we said, there's only 1.5 miles to go around here, but the problem with it, there's plenty of ways that you can scupper your own race, whether that's putting a wheel off onto the grass, or whether that's taking too much speed into a corner, or colliding with the hundreds of other vehicles that are going to be over the course of this race here, Jake.
Absolutely. Now, this is round 5 of 10. These drivers are in seeded splits. The Club Cup, a little bit different. They're not seeded, they're their own race, and anybody is free to sign up and enter the Simify MX5 World Sim Series Club Series. So if you're here for the first time, jump in next round, get yourself a little bit of experience if you want to take on the full season next time out. Now, these drivers, they all have 25-minute races. They race to time. They run the iRacing baseline setup here, so it's a fixed set. It's quite simple, and you've got unlimited fast repair. So if you break the car, there's no worries at all. You have the ability to get back out there and racing in terms of where we stand. We're currently in the thralls of qualifying at this moment in time. But David, one of the big keys to qualifying, it's hot shot qualifying. 10 minutes, 1 lap only.
And that changes absolutely everything when it comes to this, because you can be a time attack master doing lap after lap after lap here, Jake, but unless you can string that brilliant lap on one go, that's a completely different kettle of fish. That is a completely different standard of driving, and obviously through the championship, we're seeing a lot of these drivers getting used to it, but the time's coming in thick and fast. Very impressed to see that we've only got, what, about 12 cars separated by less than 0.7 of a second here, Jake. It is wild stuff. I am a huge fan of the real-life Whelen MX5 Cup Series, one of the best real-life racing championships I think there's out there. Hugely excited to be on board with this one, and if it's anything, even a tenth of the way exciting on this, especially in the Club Cup that we've got first off here, you're going to have to chisel me out of the box here, Jake.
Absolutely. Here is Sandavara, 004 on the car, indicates his place in the Drivers' Championship right now. He's well within the top 10. Currently the driver 13th overall, so on the outside looking in, Carlos Horn has the fastest time on a 57.3, but for SDC Spirit 14 Racing, Sandavara, the league organizer, rushes through the diving turn, so easy to overcook it on the exit, and one invalidated corner, one invalidated effort will find the lap in trouble. Over the line goes Vara, and he does not get a representative time in. He overcooked it through turn 2, so he will have to start by his iRating further back. Now, there is one driver who hasn't yet set a time and will have enough time to set it. It's Michael Ellett here, but he's going to have to hurry up because he's got to cross the line with at least 57 seconds remaining on the clock, does the South African from Positive Delta. Otherwise, he won't have enough time to finish his lap, and the lap will effectively be shut off by the checkered flag.
Yeah, Jake, that's what you call South African time. They're always leaving it right to the last minute here, but he gets out of the last couple of corners. I think he'll be in plenty of time here, but he's obviously wanting to just make a statement here. For me, I wouldn't be leaving it to this sort of late in the stage of qualifying, purely because I want to bottle the lap just as soon as possible, so I can go and get a cup of coffee and sit about for 10 minutes while they do that. But he's on his qualifying lap, and again, I don't think it was worth the wait, to be honest, there, because he's already lost it within 2 corners there, and it's so easy to do. It was something I was a way to bring up a little bit later here, Jake, but the fixed setups on these Club Cup cars here is going to be completely different to the setup that we're going to have later on tonight for the 2 seeded divisions here. And the difference that it can make to the car is absolutely substantial. You get a really lazy setup on these cars, and it's a difficult drive here. And I think that's what we're seeing here. You're seeing some of the cars very unresponsive, very lazy going into the corners here. And of course, with everybody having to take that setup, that makes it so much more awesome.
It does, and it's the sort of setup that you look at today and realise that it's about pliability and ease to drive. Qualifying then is classified as complete. Let's take ourselves to the Simify starting grid for this one. Simify is your one-stop shop for everything sim racing in the world. You've got to make sure that you get all the amazing trinkets that you can get there, all the gear, all of the amazing efforts that are out there. They've got 2 fantastic simulator centers in Madrid and in Barcelona. If you want a discount on your purchase, you can head to simify.com/MX5WSS for your discount at checkout. The starting grid has Carlos Horn on pole position here for this one, and it's Luis Suarez second in the championship alongside. It's then Lorenz Den Ouden and Eric Kieroth on row 2, with Rene Zegelaar and the championship leader Christian Bisserov having to make a long haul of it from 6th position. Thomas Martinez starts 7th alongside Mateus Reis, with Pedro Marim on 9th, and it's João Schubert who rounds out the top 10.
Yep, so 11th position then. You've got David Guedes alongside Anton Simonov on row 6. Row 7 is going to be Andre Luigi in 13th position. Tom Weston is in 14th, with Vice Bertels in 15th, and Bruno Lisboa rounding out row 8. And then on row 9, you've got Amanula Bacchus on 17th position, Alvaro Rodriguez in 18th, Arturo Davia in 19th position, and rounding out your 10th row is Sander Ver.
This is a 29-car field today as the green flag drops and we are underway. Carlos Horn gets off to a storming start. Watch out for Lorenz Den Ouden then as he makes that charge to the inside in the iRacing Nederland car, trying to get that move done into Big Bend. Expect these battles to last a long time through this corner. Covered off by the 3-wide racing machine of Suarez as the group now looks to form single file. Bisserov's gained one off of the start, and as they run in through the left-hander, everybody's scrambling for an angle and is contact in the middle. Watch out, they're going to go around, and just like that, bang, the chain reaction continues.
Yeah, about 10 cars involved in that. You saw the 006 of Rodriguez, I think that was caught up in that one, sent right to the back of the field. Rene Zegelaar also involved in that. Meanwhile, your leaders, the top 10, are absolutely away. Carlos Horn getting a little bit of a gap ahead of Luis Suarez here, but a fantastic little battle here with Quiroz, Bisserov and Den Ouden.
Yep, so those drivers then, the top 5, have been able to break away. That issue from 6, look at that gap back. It's troublesome, but Luis Suarez straight to the inside then here on lap 2, commanding the road. Carlos Horn trying to hold it around the outside. It's not there, and there's trouble. Off the road from 3rd position, Eric Kieroth has binned the car, and he is out in the 27 machine. He's done it all on his own with a loose rear end.
Oh, unbelievable. That car goes straight into the wall there, thankfully missing every other car in sight there. That's a horrible, horrible way to end your race on the start of lap 2. But again, you're starting to see this field bunching up again. The bump drafting is absolutely incredible on these MX5 Cup cars as well. And where we did have a little group of 5-6 cars, now they're all going up into a group of 10 to 12 cars here.
Let's take a look then on the GSRC replay. This is what happened on the opening for the Turismo Racing driver, João Schubert. So they can see down the inside, everyone trying to avoid the issue. He gets so close. And yeah, I'd have that exact same look if you had that happen. Thomas Martinez in the SDC Spirit 14 car straight across the road and completely T-bones him out of the race.
Yeah, he's still keeping on going though. That's what you love to see, and definitely anything's possible with 22 minutes left to go, especially when you've got this big midfield pack here. The safest place always is in that top 5, top 10 battle, because outside of that, from 10th all the way down to 22nd, it is just a melee. It is an absolute battle royale. You have to fight for every inch, every mile on this circuit here. This is what makes MX5 club racing so incredibly, incredibly addictive here, and they will be having the time of their lives out there just now, Jake.
David, short sentence, 3 laps, Michael Elliott, 14 places gained.
Let's go. Let's go. That's all I can say on that one. What an effort.
Let's take a look, though, with what happened to Bruno Lisboa earlier on then in this race. This is rushing through for the Rosso Esports driver up the uphill. This is the most committed corner on the circuit, and some machinery gets light over the top. 1-2 bang in sympathy with each other, and it is so difficult up the uphill because you've got that jump which makes the car feel so light. This is one of the old school throwbacks. You don't get a jump like that, save for the Nürburgring.
No, absolutely not. And the thing is from experience, when the car jumps, the rear wheel over-rotates, it spins up. Because your foot's on the accelerator, it just spins you right round. So very, very easy to do, and he will not be the last one we see tonight doing that, especially as the drivers get a little bit more brave, a little bit more cocky, a little bit more confident, taking more speed up that corner here. We will see that at least 4 more times to come.
Sandavara giving chase to Tom Weston here in 8th position, 16th in the championship is Tom. He's definitely got the pace as Luis Suarez sets the fastest lap of the race, a 56.8 on the books for him. But Tom Weston's the sort of driver who's not been able to string together the perfect results. He's got that top 10 pace, he's got that ability to book his place to Laguna Seca. He's just got to find the results, best 7 of 10.
Yeah, and it's all about what happens in the race. You have to be able to get the results. It's all very well having a great qualifying pace or whatever, as we see more cars off in the background. I believe that was out in 20th and 21st position there. But unless you get those points, unless you make it count, it doesn't really matter. And it makes it more frustrating because, you know, Tom Weston, hell of a driver, but if he's not able to make that represent, then it is very difficult to explain come the end of the season, Jake.
Very much is. René Zegelaar and Brett Wright, 2 drivers inside the top 10 of the championship, down in 19th and 20th. They wouldn't have banked on this being their round here today, but this will be one where they're just hoping that they can pick up a couple more positions if they can, because this group in front looks like it's getting feisty, and they are actually catching at this point. That's Anton Simeonov just in front, and suddenly 3's going to become 4 as the negative deltas by Bueller's driver there, the Bulgarian, is about to be latched onto.
Listen, Sander Vera here is going to have to go and file for a restraining order on Michael Elliott. That's how close we are on the back bumper of that 004 car just in front. Incredible scenes here. And the thing is, for Michael Elliott, Michael Elliott, he has to keep that momentum going forward. He can't afford to get bogged down too much here, but on the same time, we've got 20 minutes left to go. The point being, 1st to 10th place now is now 11 seconds. So if you're wanting to make that charge up, you know, it's fine getting through here, but you're not going to get that 11 seconds back, if that makes sense.
No, it's very much a pack mentality and a momentum-based circuit. If you run out of road and lose a tiny bit of time at 1.5 seconds, that snaps. Here is Armin Schlermer looking to get his pass on his debut in the independent machine, straight through on the inside of David Geddes, who is a very experienced driver, knows when to give and when to take in terms of driving about with others. He's very much a prioritise the finish first and foremost style racer, and as such, Schlermer there on the left-hand tyre, his name is missing there for us, but Armin Schlermer has got himself up into 11th place. That puts him a gain of 10, and Lorenz Den Ouden out from 4th place.
And look where that is, on the exit of the uphill. So I would bet a pretty penny that he's done exactly what we just saw a couple of laps ago, launched it over the right-hander there. The car's got light, and that car's away into the barrier. We've got a replay coming up here.
Yeah, this is how easily it can go wrong. It's one of the fastest sections, one of the most loaded sections, up over the top. He's so wide through that section. The back steps out, and he's got no time to recover it. And in fact, he's just missed pit lane as well, trying to get it in. Such is the damage on the right-hand side of his car, and that is going to be a mad scramble. Now the real... Oh! Backwards! I think that's Simeonov.
I think you're absolutely spot on, Anton Simonov. You get the feeling that was almost certainly connected to that little battle with 3 cars. They run off whistling away like nothing's actually happened here. But this is what MX5 Club Racing is all about here, Jake. It's all about the rough and tumble. It's all about mixing it and still trying to keep it going as fast as you possibly can here. And if you're not in the pack, then you're going to get eaten up very, very quickly.
Well, 8th is great, but watch out for 2nd, because Christian Bisserov, who has been nigh on unstoppable in certain weeks, is now looking for his move through. He took the first 3 rounds of this series. Carlos Horn is trying to hold on to everything, but watch the drive off the exit by Bisserov. He's desperately trying to open up every corner here, David, to maximise exit, but Carlos is having none of it.
And he's doing an absolutely grand job of making that car as wide as he possibly can. Christian Bisserov here can weave all he likes. He can try and make this work, but the problem is he's now going to have to watch out for Matthew Rice, who's only a second behind this little battle, and I really don't think he's going to be able to get past Carlos Horn until at least the start-finish straight. But Carlos just really knows exactly where to place that car, and that comes back down to, Jake, what you were saying earlier. This is what we mean when we talk about experience. It's not necessarily them being the fast driver, it's knowing about racecraft, it's knowing about how to defend your position as much as being able to drive fast here.
A twinge of understeer at West Bend, and Bisserov's got the chance over the Posey straight into Big Ben. Now taking the run around the outside here at turn 2. He understeers and loses a bit of ground, but he's got the inside for the left-hander, and the pinch there from Carlos Horn is sensational, but watch out for the cutback here through the right-hander. Christian Bisserov, take a bow.
Absolute chef's kiss on that one, and have a look just behind, because here comes Matthew Rice as well. Contact sent in. That was a clumsy move from Matthias Rice there on Carlos Horn, and after all that hard work, it's absolutely into the bin. Again, a very man, that's difficult to watch that one. Yeah.
It's tough for Carlos Horn. He will have to take a tow as well, and that's just a case of trying to be aggressive there, Matthias Race, and he just stuck his nose in, and just like that, it didn't belong, and there was the contact. Nothing really that Carlos Horn could do. He had the right of the corner, but this does promote these drivers up in this 3-car group, with Michael Elliott 24th now to 5th.
That is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. The boy has obviously had his Boervorst this morning. He is on a proper charge right now. He's basically that lead of the pack right now, because he's 13 seconds behind the rest of the field there. He might be able to catch up to Maramon in 4th position. There's still 14 minutes left, and listen, with the pace he's got, I wouldn't put it past him, but it's going to be a difficult sell for that one. But oh my god, what a drive, what a performance from Ella in that P5 as we're on board with Tom Weston. Again, he's really harassing those cars in front, but the problem for Weston is he pushing too hard. We saw him go wide on this final corner last time by. He got away with it, but how many more of those 9 lives has he got?
Well, he takes a really good run. Sanders going to get the tow here from Michael Elliott, so watch out. We'll thread the middle, will we? 3 wide, no. Backs out of it, that's Wise to 2. Diving for the inside. Weston as late as you want, and he finds himself with a super overtake there on Michael Elliott, who goes from 5th to 7th. They realise that gap's 8 seconds here, David, to Pedro Marimon in 4th, so they realise we'll fight amongst each other, and we maybe, if we continue to fight like this, bring Armin Schlermer and David Geddes in. There's your race leader, by the way, Luis Suarez. He is romping away 4.5 seconds over a nigh-on invincible Christian Bisserov.
Yeah, fantastic effort from Luis Suarez there. You've got to say, with the demise of Carlos Horn, that was what caused all of that time. Carlos was already dropping back to about 2 seconds here, and now we're seeing Bisserov having to defend tooth and nail right now from Matthias Rice. I think actually on that contact, Rice just had the pace on Carlos there, and it did look like Carlos did shut the door there, but oh man, what a fantastic race. We're coming up to the halfway point of this club. The Club Cup, in the halfway point of the championship as well. This is now the turning point, I think, for the points and for the championship as well here.
Let's also remember that there is still something to race for if you're in the top 10. For example, Pedro Marimon in 9th will think, oh, if I'm just in the top 10, I'm okay. But you've got to remember as well here, David, where you finish in the championship determines grid position at Laguna Seca, and in the back 5 rows, you want to be about 41, 42, not back there in 50.
Oh yeah, you want to be avoiding all of that because it is just going to be absolute chaos going down to turn 1 as we see René Zegelaar here try to go side by side. Never a place you want to see coming up through the uphill. Thankfully they all sort themselves out, but this is the trench warfare I was talking about earlier on here in this mid-pack. Anywhere outside the top 10, it is just going to be boxing gloves everywhere as grenades getting thrown. It's so wild, and in these little awesome cup, you're throwing these things about because they're so compliant, they're so pliable, they do exactly what you tell them to. And when you've got 5, 6, 7 cars around you and you're dicing about, you throw them in left and right here, it's just an absolute joy.
All aboard the Bacchus bus. That's big down the inside. A shove on René Zegelaar by Anton Simeonov. He was taking no prisoners there, but you can say that from 10th back to 19th, you can split by 5 seconds. Throw a blanket on the bang! There's the big one. Brett Wright goes for a helter-skelter. He's joined by the Russo car. Rodriguez around and damaged as well.
Well, that's impressive. Today I can check that one off, watching cars crash in a straight line. So congratulations to them. That is unfortunately what happens when you've got 4 or 5 cars just constantly jostling for position here. They could take a little lesson from what we saw with Michael Elliott earlier on there, going into turn 1. He actually backed right out. Now he's got that position back from Tom Weston there, but again, this is that experience, this is that racecraft, this is knowing that you need to get your car across the finish line to get those points. It's all very well, hustling for a position here, Jake, but if your car resembles a tin opener at the end of the race, it's not going to count for very much.
No, it very much isn't, but you have to remember though as well here, David, that the Paul Newman straight isn't necessarily straight, and that's why we had the incident there. There's a small turn to the left, and that's why we saw it. Watch out, Matthias Race. He's going to now make his move to the inside, and Pedro had him on. How hard does he want to battle it? Answer is he had to leave the room on the inside. Matthias Race puts the Turismo car up into 3rd position.
Yeah, fantastic little fight going on here, and you've got Bisserov just up in front as well. So again, Suarez just away into a different postcode at this point in time. It's not to say that he can't be caught here, that anybody with the actual pace might be able to bring that gap down, but it makes it a very, very difficult handicap to have at this late stage of the race here. 10 minutes left to go. You would not bet against Rice getting the 2nd position here from Bisserov. Again, it's not to say that Bisserov's slow in any way whatsoever, but it's just the absolute momentum, the absolute pace. You know yourself, Jake, that when you've got that flow, you've got that momentum, there's very little that can actually stop you.
Yeah, so this is going to be a really important run as they go through a bit of smoke there from one of the cars in the pits. 9 minutes and 23 seconds remaining out there at the moment, and René Zegelaar's group continues on. Amanula Bacchus lost out. Now watch out, we're too wide, we're too deep. Bacchus going backwards with Stephen Orrell in the Sargento car, looking to try and find his way through. We got Bruno Albino there. Anton Simeonov now leads this group, and these are important points. This is for the top 10 out there, and there is that little bragging right if you're someone like René Zegelaar that you do have to fend that top 10 from people who are outside it.
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to want to hold on to that position, given how important it is to score as many points as you possibly can. You're not only wanting to stop people getting into the top 10, but you're also trying to take whatever positions you can. So if there's somebody ahead of you in the club championship, you're going to want to make sure that they don't get any positions. So we see London Ouden here down in 19th position. I believe that is who's that he is fighting just now. That is Arturo De Villa, I believe, on the outside there. So again, shows you, even down in 19th and 20th position here, still fighting tooth and nail for all of these points here.
Oh, and a little bump to the back. Matthias Race looking at 2nd here with Christian Bisserov, who runs wide and off the road and on the Paul Newman straight. It will now be Matthias Race through and gaining 2nd, gets the clearance for the uphill, but will he understeer out wide as they take the small rise over the top and jump and over towards West Bend? Suddenly, Hunter becomes hunted. What do you do now? You don't have slipstream here.
Well, you saw that he had to lift off the throttle there on the exit of the uphill because that car did start to slide out, but great car control there from Matthias Rice. Comes out that final corner then, and you can see Bisserov locked onto the tail end of that car. He's bringing Marimon as well. Now, it does look like Santarvara has just kind of fallen off the back of this little train here, but that's wide into turn one. You don't want to do that too often there, Jake, because Bisserov is going to take that as an invitation one of these times to stick the nose up the inside.
He does, but you've also got to remember you can diamond off the big bend through one and then gather it back for an exit off two, so that's also in the mind. But look how hard they're pushing at 100% as they go through. Traffic off the exit as now there's the little search from about 9th position or so as they go through. Simeonov there with Oral and Zegalar, who are both there, all looking to try and sneak away through inside that top 10, but Simeonov's trying to check out at the moment at 0.8 of a second, so there is still all that to go. But we now reach the twilight of the Club Series race with 6 minutes and 40 seconds to go. Now you think about one more. Zegalar with a nose to the inside, can't find it, and Vita Bertels will go around. Second time he's been involved in an incident on the straight, and this time it's with Armanula Bacchus.
Yeah, and it was not until last lap there that we saw just how much curve there is on that that run through the big bend. It's not exactly straight at all, and very, very easy, especially because the cars want to drift over to the left-hand side before they go through that uphill section there to get the best run through. Yeah, that's a bit of a flashpoint there. Very, very unfortunate. And yeah, unfortunately, that is pretty much their race done and dusted. You will still see a couple of cars pushing on, but the fact that it takes so much time off of you and pretty much cripples your car as well, Jake, it's suboptimal, I think they would say.
You'll lose at least a lap if you find yourself in an incident, and that's the key. And Pedro Marimon now thinking about a podium. There are going to be one bridesmaid to this podium and one husband and wife, so to speak, who will be up there on the top. Traffic's going to stay out of the way on the inside. It will compromise Marimon's run. That's Armanula Bacchus taking the fast repair, getting back out and racing once more. But now they've got to navigate the traffic. This isn't a large circuit by any stretch of the imagination here, David. So you really get the sense that if you've got to deal with the traffic, now is probably the worst time, at the crunch time of the race, to deal with it. You've got Davila, you've got Kalle Rantanen, the experienced Finn.
Well, for that top three, or sorry, the second, third, and fourth, the Rice, Bisserov, and Marimon, yeah, this is exactly when you don't want to have it, especially for Rice. He is desperately hunting any traffic he can to put behind him. But to be honest, the traffic very, very well versed here, Jake. They know exactly what is going on, and they are not wanting to have anything to do with this, completely moving out the way. They don't have to do that, but it's great race etiquette, and it makes it very frustrating for Matthias Rice, who wants to use them as a wedge to get some space over Bisserov and Marimon.
Yeah, he wants that breakaway, and Arturo Davila goes hard over to the right-hand side, a teammate of Pedro Marimon, but stays well out of the way. One of the few drivers out there who does not have an iRacing, Arturo Davila. He races this series and this series only. He doesn't even do official series races. Such is what he loves to race here in iRacing. But the gap now has opened. That's a car off. That's David Mitchell there to Scott, who's having a torrid time of things at the moment, really not doing well. But watch out for 13th and 14th. David Balaj here is now going to find himself overtaking that beautiful Castrol livery car. That's Bruno Albino finding his way through.
I was also noticing last lap there, Luis Suarez actually getting caught up in that traffic, losing about a second and a half on that last lap there. It is going straight back up again, but just interesting to see that his pace getting affected there. But of course, I don't really think he's going to be minding too much here with 3.5 minutes to go. He may very well be just watching his pace here. I certainly wouldn't be one to get caught up in all that traffic that's right in front of him.
Listen, he can drop 2 seconds a lap and still win this race from this point. That's how far ahead Luis Suarez is. Another car off the road there. That's Thomas Martinez, who's been more off the road than on it here today in the SDC Spirit 14 racing car. He will go back to the garage and say, well, next month we'll try. Simeonov finds himself in a race here, and that was a big attempt by Rene Zegalar to get up inside that top 10. He just about wrestled it away, but Simeonov says, no, I am the Guardian. You must pass me.
Yeah, and that is a huge, huge moment because that's also going to bring in Oral just behind there in that 12th position. Tries to get the cut back again, leaning on each other. This is dangerous, dangerous territory. We've seen it so many times here. Cuts one way, then the other, late on the brakes, coming up through the uphill, Jake. They are playing with fire, and so far it's entertaining, but they've got away with it.
You can't cross the beams that close, Simeonov and Zegala. That was just inch as they went for it, and now Stephen Orrell, who looks at this, has seen it all, has done it all, thinks, well, I'm going to abandon myself off the road slightly because that is as scary as it gets. With a handful of laps to go, in the background they scramble and do the band move now at Indianapolis, so to speak, the serpentine over to the inside to try and cover, but look out, Balazs, you'll have to go the long way around.
Yeah, the two of them fighting side by side. This is what makes club racing so awesome here, Jake. No matter where you are in the pack, you could be outside the top 10. Hell, you could be outside the top 20 for this point. You're always going to have somebody that is on your level and that you're having to fight so hard with. You end up doing these 25-minute races and you will have the biggest grin on it because you've just had to work so hard here. As again, trying to have a look up the inside is Balazs, but no room there. And again, so close for Bruno Albino on the exit of the uphill there. Very easy to do. But a minute and a half now, it's looking very good for Luis Suarez, but it's a case of who's going to get that third and fourth position, because I think Mateus Reis looking comfortable in seconds.
Well, they got traffic third and fourth right now. It's Bruno Lisboa in the Rosso Esports car they're going to have to navigate through. Race has got the gap, so there's no worries for him at the moment. He is second for Teresimo and making his late charge. There is Luis Suarez now. This is going to be close, whether it's going to be one lap or two. That's San Navarra from ninth position, who's now going to drop late. That's big for his championship. Remember, he's fourth at the moment, and I reckon this is the last lap of the race here for Luis Suarez. Everybody shuffles out the way. They want to get out of Dodge early, and you got 1, 2, 3, 4 behind. It's like watching the Pied Piper at the moment, David.
Yeah, and Luis Suarez is leading them rounds through the heart of Connecticut here at Lime Rock Park. What a fantastic effort that's been. The best part is 7 seconds clear of the rest of the field before we got into that traffic. Sterling effort from Luis, some big points for the team at 3 Wide Racing and for Louis as well. All roads, as we said, leading to California at the end of the year, December 22nd through to Laguna Seca. And well, I tell you what, if this is not a stamp of endorsement for Louis, I don't know what is.
Well, TWR stands for 3 Wide Racing. You might as well start calling it the winning ride, because Luis Suarez has just waltzed away with one, and he will be the main challenger to Christian Bisserov this season. That is dominant here at Lime Rock Park. Mateus Reis will take a huge second from 8th on the grid, and Bisserov will hold off Pedro Marimon for his spot on the podium. Some late positions lost, which means Michael Elliott will take 5th and Weston 6th. But ultimately, this has been a race full of attrition, and who could avoid landmines?
Absolutely loved watching that first race there. Huge congratulations, by the way, to Michael Elliott there, getting that 5th position at starting so far back in the grid. That is absolutely exceptional. Huge rate of attrition in that one. It was always going to be the case. These club races, you know, they really do have a great mix. That's what makes them so enjoyable, Jake. And yeah, I think that gives us a great idea of what to expect for the next 2 races.
Yeah, it certainly does. Let's get confirmation of result then here from Lime Rock Park in the Club Series. Luis Suarez dominates over Mateus Reis, who finishes off in second. Christian Bisserov will find himself the last place on the podium in third today. Pedro Marimon will be fourth, and what a drive by Michael Elliott all the way back from 24th position. He will finish off in 5th with Tom Weston 6th. David Geddes will finish 7th ahead of Armin Schlurmer on debut. Rene Zegelaar would pick up 9th, and Stephen Orrell would find a way to squeak inside the top 10.
Fantastic result. 11th place there for Anton Simonov there. Bruno Albino in 12th position, caught up in that huge fight with David Balazs. Marcos Suarez in 14th position. Lawrence Den Uden does get across the line despite that heavy damage to the car. Andre Luigi in 16th position. Arturo De Villa, despite not having a iRating, is in 17th position. Kalle Rantanen in 18th position. Sander Vara again caught up in late contact in 19th, and then Alvaro Rodriguez rounding out your top 20 2 laps down.
Yeah, a lot of drivers 2 laps down or in trouble today. Wietse Bertels got involved in a lot. So too did Thomas Martinez in 23rd, Zhao Schubert 22nd, Bruno Lisboa and Brett Ride 24th and 25th. Carlos Horn, the pole sitter, 2 laps down by the end of today. David Mitchell and Amanula Bacchus with drives to forget. And the final driver who did not find the finish today was Eric Quieros, who was out after just 3 corners in today's racing overall. But there is one line that the Red Hot Chili Peppers once wrote, and that is that East Side love is living on the West End. We are heading from East Coast to West Coast. Stay with us here at the Global Sim Racing Channel. We're going to hop over to the other side as we head Pacific side for Sonoma and Division 2 of the World Sim Series after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Simify MX5 World Sim Series. We have jumped east coast to west, and we jump now in towards San Pablo Bay, a stone's throw away from the Golden Gate Bridge and San Francisco itself. Welcome to what used to be Sears Point, what used to be Infineon, but what is now known as Sonoma Raceway. It is quite simply put one of the hidden gems that you find in the world of California racing, and this is a circuit that tests every aspect of a driver. It is basically a dyno test for racing cars built in a racetrack. This is the circuit that drivers here today have to mastermind Division 2 and Division 1 in the race to the WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. But to get our appetites whetted for racing here today in California, not just for today, but for December as well, let's take a look at our GSRC track guide and get a little look at what makes Sonoma a beast that is so difficult to tame.
Welcome to Sonoma Raceway, one of California's most famous road courses. It resides just north of San Francisco. It's been host to a wide variety of styles of racing, including sports cars, Indy cars, motorcycles, and even drag racing. But in recent decades, it's become most well known for holding one of NASCAR's rare road course weekends. For most tracks, this cornucopia would be a stretch, but considering the array of 5 different layouts to choose from, it's quite easy for the circuit to be adapted to any series needs. Most of the layouts clock in at around 2 to 2.5 miles in length and always feature an impressive amount of elevation change. This means many of the corners present the driver with a blind entry or apex. Some of these have a very distinct visual look, making them instantly recognizable. Corners such as the chute and the final hairpin feature street course-like walls surrounding the track, while the carousel is both picturesque and challenging. With few long straights, passing is often considered very difficult, but it rarely leaves races with a lack of action. Mistakes can be easy to make, offering opportunities for the brave. And it's not just the track itself which is tough. The pit entry's narrow path requires precise driving for those looking to make up time and leapfrog their competitors during stops. With more than 40 years of racing under its belt, Sonoma has become a staple for West Coast race fans. And what could be better than a glass of vino on a sunny hillside while the sound of engines echo around you?
Sonoma is simply fantastic. It's a technical marvel, and it makes you jump here, there, and everywhere. The long version we run today. This is going to be simply incredible. You look around this circuit, and on paper here, if you look at it just as a cutout, it looks quite simple. It looks like a tuning fork of all things, David. But when you get right down to the bread and butter, elevation is what makes this circuit, especially the run-up from 1 into 2 and then 3A, 3B. That is, simply put, one of the greatest rises that you're going to see in motorsport.
It is, and you described it perfectly there, Jake. A proper hidden gem of North American sports car racing. A staple on the calendars of both IndyCar and NASCAR. And if it's good enough for them, then it's good enough for our MX5 Cups. You also said that brilliantly there as well. It's what makes it so difficult is those elevation changes. Just like last time there at Lime Rock Park, it's combining those corners with those elevation drops and those rises as well. And then you're having to find all of the pack behind you as well. It is just an absolute mind melter of a circuit, and these drivers will be exhausted after the end of this race. Let's not forget, a lot of these drivers already taking part in this 25-minute race that we've just seen here. It is going to be a tall order to have concentration on the front of them for this race here. It's going to be a very, very difficult ask, I think, here.
Were it not for the weather delays that we've got out here, they've basically taken Kyle Larson-style jumbo jets and helicopters to run from East Coast to West here to be in time for a race like this one. But this is the circuit that makes challenges. But as we head towards halfway, 4 rounds worth of racing, and this is how the championship stacks up then. After we've had everything, it is the reigning champion who's got the most points at the moment. Jaume Dalmases finds himself on top, and then it's the Bosnian and Herzegovinian Adnan Grozdanic who has found himself closest next behind in second. Lars Fischer leading a trio of 5-star racing cars behind in the forms of himself, Jason Cooper, and the Chinese driver Yuan Jilin, who finds himself there in 5th. Then it's Alberto Blanco in 6th position along with Jack Veazey. Nuno Ferreira's quietly been putting the points in. He is 8th at the moment with Per Sandberg in 9th and Ewan Bremer rounding out the top 10 overall. But it's not just about how the drivers go about, David. It's about the nations as well.
It certainly is. Spain right on top with things just now. 1,356 points there. Germany in that second place there, just 87 points behind on 1,269. The UK down in 3rd position. United States in 4th with the Netherlands in 5th as well. And then you've got France as well. That group really, really close to each other there. Just under 300 points separating your top 5 just now. France in 6th, Brazil in 7th, Bulgaria in 8th, Belgium in 9th, and Sweden in 10th.
So that is how they scramble about, but we've got 2 races worth to get through, and it is currently the thralls of qualifying that we find ourselves in at the moment. And of course, at the moment, it's Stefan Dumas who has got himself up on top at the moment, 146.3 as things look. So these drivers are looking to try and put their times together. Trevor Roy goes top in the number 34 machine. The guy from Mid-South has made sure that on the West Coast, he is boss at the moment. He has gone 4/10 quicker than anybody else, and the first to break the 46s.
Beautiful, beautiful lap there, and that is a shot across the bow to the rest of the field with such a short time left to go. 5.5 minutes left to go here. That's an absolute banger of a lap time. It almost, beggars belief somebody putting in a lap like that so early in the so late into the qualifying here, because what else can you possibly do? Although, to be fair, have a look at Matteo Camus there at just 6/100ths of a second off that pace right now, so maybe not as far away as we actually think here for Trevor Roy.
Yeah, Camus was really close in terms of the way that he went through it. We look now at the SRL car of René Zegelaar. Didn't have much luck when it came to Lime Rock Park, but let's take a look around with him on the lap, see exactly what makes this circuit tick, and it's never truly straight. You're always trying to set up here as you run along the drag strip here on the right-hand side and flick up the hill underneath the walkways here through turn 1, and you've got to do the toughest bit in motorsport, turn and brake into an off-camber corner for turn 2. Simply put, one of the toughest corners in motorsport to get correct lap after lap after lap. Now 3A and 3B the chicane. It's a slingshot into 3A. It spits you out off camber again here at 3B up over the rise. That's the highest point of the circuit. Down the hill, early braking zone, and with a big lock and almost spinning the car goes Zegelaar. Middle sector now. He's going to lose so much time down the hill through the long left of turn 6.
And as you go through that long left, it always reminds me of the Red Bull Ring, that turn 6 here, as we make our way down then through the straight towards turn 7 as well. This is almost a sharp 90-degree banked corner here, which doubles back on itself here. A fairly long hairpin right, which can be extended in some layouts of the circuit here, but it's a sort of short, sharp burst right, and then right again, and then it gets it all wrong. And so easy to do here. Just like on Lime Rock Park there, it's all about that sneaky little elevation change, because you crest the hill and the car just wants to follow.
As shown with the 56 car, Pieter Hossens, he's not on a lap, but he'll indicate the second half of the lap here to us at this moment through the S's section. It's one of the more unique S's that you find out there, because it's very quick in terms of its first section of S's out there here, David. But what it does for the second half is that they get longer and longer, and you really need to carry that momentum through the corners. You do have to brake slightly here for turn 10, which is so committed.
And the problem with that as well is that because it's such a relatively long circuit here, and they only get the one shot at it, it's a case of, if you extend it, then it makes it so very, very difficult to get that time back here. You lose, say, 0.2 of a second, Jake, going through that first couple of corners here. Then by turn 8 and turn 9, that's up to 0.8 of a second to nearly a second. Your lap can be ruined just by that first couple of corners.
It absolutely can. And so you get the sense that around here, you are very much reliant on not finding mistakes. 4 drivers did find mistakes and were unable to set representative times. Currently, no drivers find themselves out here on circuit today, which means that we can run and say that there will be a Simify starting grid with you very, very shortly. Simify, of course, is your one-stop shop for all your sim racing gear. You can choose from iconic brands and mix and match for the best way to get your leg up on the competition. Simify, it ships worldwide, and it also has 2 sim racing centers. One, of course, in the capital of Spain in Madrid, and one in the Catalan capital, Barcelona. And they're dedicated to improving your sim racing skills. You can head over to www.simify.com/MX5WSS. You can either put the link in yourself, or you can go in the description and find it, and you can have your discount applied automatically on your sim racing purchases today. This has been a qualifying which has been quite self-explanatory, and Trevor Roy has been the fastest of the lot, the only one in the 145s. And David, 145 around here is rather impressive. You've got to hook everything up together on this advanced setup to get it all nicely and neat, because it's a car that does want to throw the back out. It does need a lot of control from it. It's not a case of stick the throttle down and pin it and hope it sticks. It's a lot more nuanced than that.
It absolutely is, and what's even more impressive is the fact that in any qualifying session, 145 would be, that would be an excellent lap to have. But to have it on that one-shot qualifying as well, it makes it so difficult just to hook that up as well. Now, obviously, it changes slightly for the second and the third race here, but again, your mindset is in that you don't have that safety net, you don't have the ability to keep pushing through here, and you have to get it in as quickly as possible, and that's what we saw Trevor Roy doing on that sixth lap.
Yeah, and that was what was crucial. We'll now jump over to the Simify starting grid, and it is Trevor Roy, of course, who's got that pole position on the 145.974. Alongside him will be Mathieu Camus, who is on the outside looking in. He's 41st in the championship as things stand. Stefan Dumas will go from third, with Martin Sampson, who's a little bit out of place in the championship at the moment. He's got some work to do. He's in fourth position. Matt Tempest and Ronald Mones, the owner of Virtual Belcar, goes from sixth position. Miles Owens and Edward Gross will both feel like they should have been in top split today. They're not. They're seventh and eighth, with Patrick Alders in ninth place and Melvin Tyne rounding out the top 10.
Certainly is. So as we go into 11th position, you've got Roberto Bruno in 11th. You've got Michael Tangaretta in 12th position. Stephen Orrell in 13th. Peter Goossens in 14th. Mick Robinson alongside Nuno Ricardo in 15th and 16th. Willem van Rassel in 17th position alongside Stefan Edler. And then on 19th position in row 10, you've got Pedro Maramon returning along with Rennie Zegler. Both of them we saw in race 1 at Lime Rock Park.
It's a quick grid here today. 1 minute they will have to get themselves lined up, and so everybody is jumping around thinking how they're going to be ready. 25 minutes once again. Sonoma, what do you have to throw on up? We got the lights on, and the lights are going to be out, and we are racing. It is vintage conditions in terms of this series. It is as basic as it gets. It's nice and cool for everyone to go. A great start there by Trevor Roy, but immediately for third, it's on as Martin Sampson's optical car tries to sleep his way around the outside of Stefan Dumas, and he'll manage it then in the early stages. Everybody managing to navigate their way through without any dramas at all. Stephen Orrell starting from the pit, but crucially up over the rise. A little bit of too wide here, a little bit of too wide there, but it's practically as clean as you like, clean as a whistle.
Yeah, I wonder how long that's going to last coming into this right-hander here. The thing is, we're seeing a lot of drivers trying to make their way up from the back. Peter Goossens drops down a couple of positions. We've got Rennie Zegler trying to go as well here.
Looks like it's Mick Robinson who's gone around 43rd in the championship. One thing he couldn't afford to do today was find a spin, and he's just looped it in by being aggressive into the corner. So easy to do. Everybody looking to get a run then out to 6, and then up the hill over towards turn 7, and the looks start beginning. Michael Tangaretta from the best team name in the world, the organisation, and he's hoping that his hit is to move inside the top 10 against Edward Gross.
Yeah, you can see Edward Gross just in front there of Michael Tangaretta, the two of them almost going side by side, but Gross holding on to that 10th position here. Again, momentum such a key element here at Sonoma. The drivers want to settle into a rhythm very quickly, but yet again, look at the gap that's already been opened up. If you're outside that top 10, then you're at least 5 seconds down on the race leader as well. So you have to get a move on at such an early stage. We're less than 2 minutes into the race here, and the pack fanning out very nicely indeed.
It very much does here around Sonoma. They take Gilligan's Island's hairpin and almost into the wall on the outside, forces 3 wide for the 3-wide racing car, believe it or not. It's going to be a case there for Nuno Ricardo, Roberto Bruno and Willem van Rassel. Van Rassel in the iRacing Nederland machine. He's going to hold on, but the Rosso Esports car on the outside, he'll really pinch on that inside. Now he'll command the inside line, and he gets it sorted, but look at how deep everyone goes, and there's contact front to back. Bruno will go into the seared grass on the inside.
Very, very unfortunate. You saw that one a mile off the cutback, got a lot of speed there and just not able to react in time to how slow they were. Bruno actually getting pulled back up with Van Rassel there, and very, very difficult as Camus in a huge fight here. So we've got a proper little battle going on with the teammates here for BB1 Sim Racing, Camus and Dumas here, and it makes it very, very difficult when you've got teammates that are fighting like that.
It certainly is, and well, it was Stefan Dumas who managed to find a way through on Mateo Camus. Not much that Mateo could do. Martin Sampson pushing the envelope there through 7, the second half of it, stealing the position away, and you can't slow down and check up because Miles Owens is going to now start sneaking on through. Oh, what a thief he was! What a steal!
Absolutely, and all a bit of contact on the back there from Mateo Camus there, and this is the problem, is that experience catching you out there. You do the right thing and you're trying to ease off a little bit, trying to keep yourself in the race here, and then suddenly you get eaten up by the pack, as that's a huge send up for Mateo Camus. Can he get that car stopped down in time? That opens the door up for Tempest up the inside as well, so that is going to be Owens versus Tempest there, but Owens is going to close that door off. Great defensive move there from Mateus Camus to get that position back here, but the long straightaway here at Sonoma, I wouldn't put it past Owens to try and make a move here on Mateo Camus, and that's going to drop him away from that top 3.
I tell you what, the way he was rolling, he could add 7 numbers to BB1. He was BB8 in the way that he was rolling away. Brilliant stuff as he was there. Camus in 4th, Miles Owens now back to 5th position. Gap has opened up now to 1.7 seconds at the front of the field. And look at that, a little bit wide there from Patrick Alders back there. You've got to be careful over the top of 3B. It's so easy at that point to run wide and find yourself in the barriers. There's the 3G racing car of Trevor Roy. 5G, he's so fast.
He is absolutely blazing away right now, 2 seconds ahead as we're already on to lap number 3 here. Brilliant way to start the race though, to get it on the pole position and then just absolutely send it away right now. This is going to be a huge boost of confidence for Trevor in that machine. So again, I think he'll be very, very happy, and obviously some big points for the championship here. Jake, is that's a move up the inside there from that you got Weston and Maramon up there, as well as that's a big hip check as well for the number 20 of Bruno on the inside of Weston there.
Yeah, Pedro Marimon, nowhere to go for the STC Spirit 14 car. Keeps his number, of course, from the Club Championship as he races here. But Tom Weston trying to get sneaky and find a way through. And you do have this sense around Sonoma that you can't be traditional in the way that you pass, because nowhere around this circuit has the traditional long straight except for the run for 7. And here at Gilligan's Island, and he finds a bit of contact to boot there as he forces the block pass, but he might spare his brushes and keep the same position as Roberto Bruno now tries to tuck in, but he's a little too close, has to fall into line.
Yeah, fantastic little battling that we've got going on outside the top 15 right now. Willem van Ressel having to think on his feet right now as all the cars around him. Maramon Vara, after that horrendous race last run, tries to get the move on the inside of that right-hander. Can't quite make it happen here. Meanwhile, your race leader still absolutely romping away with this one, although that gap's starting to come down very, very slightly as we see Ronald Moons in a bit of a tidy little battle going on here with Alders. So again, at this early stage of the race, I mean, we've only done 7 minutes here, but it's just awesome, isn't it? It's just fantastic fighting here, Jake.
It's respectful racing as well, and I think that's the important thing. As now on Melvin Tyne, here goes Ronald Moons trying to find that place on the outside line, and again, it's tough to happen, but you've got a lot of road you can get the run back through. You can't go too far because you will get the iRacing slowdown penalty as you go through, and as well behind that, you got Gross and Tanagretta who's in, but on the curb they scrap for it, and the line goes to Melvin Tyne. Brilliant stuff. They were racing for a millimetre of rubber.
It really, really is just awesome stuff to see as we're watching Martin Sampson right now onto the back of the number 23 car there of Miles Owens. So the two of them have, again, clean and respectful is what I would say. It absolutely represents this Division 2 race here. And the thing with this being, for the points for the championship, what I'm looking at as well is Roy down there in in 34th position in the driver ranking right now. That's going to be a huge boost for him for the championship.
It is. He's maximising his points for being down in Division 2. He can't score a point more than all of those in Division 1, but what he can do is maximise his losses. He's doing that well. Owen still having to defend in the Sim Racing Sweden car. Martin Sampson knows how to race Miles Owens like the back of his hand. He's raced him time and time again in the UK sim racing scene. But Sampson can't get the run that he so hoped against Miles Owens, and now he'll have to settle in to the long turn 6, and it's a corner that you have to wait an age of Turnham on the throttle here, David, until it plateaus, and then you can put the power down here.
We've seen exactly what happens with these MX5 Cup cars if you do not be patient with them, if you are a little bit greedy, if you're a little bit overzealous or over-eager on the accelerator and you really try to rag these cars around. They do not like it. They over-rotate very, very quickly. But if you're calm with them, if you're patient with them, and you get into a state of flow with them, Jake, they just drift round corners absolutely beautifully. When you've got these cars hooked up, they run so nicely. And obviously, completely different setup now here at Sonoma compared to the club car, the cup cars.
It looks like there has been an issue out on circuit for Willem van Rassel and Steven Elder. It looked like they both had 2 spins on their laps, so they've now dropped to the back respectively. Moon still hoping for his way to jump past Melvin Tyne in the iRacing Nederland car, but there's the opportunity because wide goes time, and time is of the essence for Ronald Moons, the Belgian against the Dutchman, trying to find a bit of room to go through, and the train is Alders and Gross and Tannegretta and Ricardo and Hossens, who is all there. This is what you call the perfect 7-car superstar train.
It absolutely is, and your conductor, I guess, would be that Melvin Tyne in the number 35 in that 7th position. You've got Ronald Moons that were on board the back shot there of just now, with Alders leading the rest of the field charging through. But again, now we're seeing here with these MX5s here, it's just absolutely opened up. Yeah, you've got these 6-7 cars here, but back behind that, they've all dropped off into their own little groups here. So, you know, you can get past this, but say give it 5 minutes time. If you get past that car in front of Tyne, then where are you going to go? Because you've then got another 3-4 seconds to catch up to the likes of Matt Tempest and Miles Owens here. So limited pickings here, and these drivers need to get a move on here.
And it just emphasises early on around a circuit which is so choppy and changey in the opening laps, as it's going to be 3 wide behind it. Actually, again with Nuno Ricciardo in the 3-wide racing car. Again, he's tried to put it through with Tannegretta and Hossens. This is some brilliant stuff. You don't know where to look in a race like this with these drivers, because 1 minute it'll be all nice and calm, and suddenly it's all frantic, and they're not losing the time either in this group. They're throwing it 3 wide, but they're sorting themselves out before they start compromising their lines.
Absolutely, I definitely don't envy our broadcast producer Daniel Costello behind the scenes with the cameras just now. That's very, very wide for the 3-wide race. Never mind 3-wide racing, that's almost 3 lanes racing out onto that sandpit just now. Gets themselves gathered up there, but again, watching Ronald Moons here, and you have just got a cavalcade of cars right now trying to make their way past. This is why I absolutely adore MX5 Cup racing, because it is fast, it's frantic, it's furious, and when it's done right, Jake, it looks absolutely incredible.
I'd have to say, back there for Nuno Ricciardo, that they are on the wrong side of California for Baja. So they have got a lot more work to do to try and go forward and avoid using the grass as much as possible. Up over the top, right up over it goes Patrick Alders in the Sweat Sim Racing car, trying to open up his chance. But that there could have been so much more in terms of gaining places, gaining positions. I will correct myself, instead of iRacing Nederland, it would be Sweat for Melvin Tyne, but on the brakes down the hill at turn 6, Patrick Alders is a very calculated driver, and watch behind as well, because Nuno Ricciardo's just stolen one here from Edouard Gross.
Absolutely fascinating little battle that we've got going on. So we go 2 wide with a 3-wide racing car there. You've got Gross and Ricardo then trying to go around the outside. Ricardo looks like he's going to try and get the line, but it's going to be the 21 that gets the inside line there. That 3-wide racing car keeps the foot in. Oh my God, that was a massively aggressive move. That was the iRacing equivalent of a punch in the jaw from the 3-wide racing car. I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure I'd be taking that. Goodness
That
me.
was Alexander Usyk-like as he went through, taking the road, and just like that, on the back foot and rocked is Edward Gross in the Sweat Sim Racing car. Michael Tannegretta sends one deep at Gilligan's Island, and he'll come up with a lot as they go through. No room with Roberto Bruno. Just about avoids calamity, and Bruno will steal the place.
Unbelievable stuff right now. I'm watching that gap at the front as well with Trevor Roy. It's up to 3.5 seconds, but I wonder if some of the cars here are maybe just trying to save their tyres a little bit so they can absolutely send it. I would not be surprised to see that gap come down in the next sort of 2 minutes or so to see if they can actually do anything. There might be some traffic in here, but either way, look, what an amazing championship this is. And again, I get to go on a little bit about this as we see a battle for second and third place as Camus sends it up the inside there. That's obviously a switch for position between the teammates there. But you know, being brand new to this championship, Jake, here, with this being the second year, it's absolutely incredible. Me being able to see this for the first time, you know, you've got the Club Cup. They've really went for that balance between sort of club racing and professional, you know, world-class racing here. And I think they've absolutely hit the nail on the head here.
They have Nuno Ricciardo and Patrick Alders trading paint, and they almost knocked each other's wing mirrors off going through that bit of road. That could have been disaster in just a blink of an eye, but Nuno Ricciardo will hold and gain through into 9th position with that pass. But you absolutely strike a chord there with how it is a balance between being world class and being club racing. It is all about the series, it's all about the camaraderie between the drivers and the respect between them. You couldn't find a group of 80 drivers out there that all seem to love each other's style of racing and respect each other's style of racing.
100%, and this is what makes sim racing absolutely incredible. This is what I love about it as a commentator. Watching championships like this, and you get the same drivers week in, week out. They know the drivers, they know who they're going to be fighting, they get this level of respect, and you know, they'll jump into Discord or voice chat or whatever and give a little bit of banter, to apologise whenever they feel like they've maybe been a little bit too hard, as that's Roberto Bruno sending it around and around and around the corner here. It gets on, but that's a stricken car that's going to get possibly another couple of places taken off it. But again, the respect is so huge here. This, whenever I do the you know, the esports championships and things like that, I'll be completely honest with you. The professional esports championships will never ever hold a candle to the wind of these community championship events here, because you will get some of the finest racing that you'll ever see, and some of the biggest bouts of camaraderie and community love going on in these championships.
We'll take a look here on the GSRC replay. This is what happened to Roberto Bruno, and it's all his own doing here, David, as he goes uphill into turn 2. He tags the back of Edward Gross, and then he just has no slipstream as he gets that that no grip, as he gets that small touch as he went through. Suddenly, the front pitches to the inside, and he's got nothing to save it.
Yeah, and that's a very, very easy mistake to make here. We saw that right at the start of the gap as well. Is it Edward Gross down in P11 there? Who was that just went off behind him? I thought that was Goosens. All right, no, so you're absolutely right, Tangreta. Huh,
So
okay.
So Tannegretta ran wide there through turn 10, spooked a bit by Edward Gross, drops the 2 positions, and then Pieter Hossens will jump through and gain 1 as he jumps through and up into 13th. This has been a tough day to gain places into the top 10. The only driver who's been able to, believe it or not, has been the driver who's been 3 wide all day long. Nuno Ricciardo up 7th, 16th to 9th.
Yeah, Nuno Ricciardo has just not given any quarter whatsoever. Very, very rough, rugged moves being done, but just on that outside edge of firm but fair, and you know, sometimes you have to do what you need to do to make sure you get that position. I wouldn't be surprised to see him get up into that top 7 to get the position from Toyn and from Moons as well. But I'm going to retract my previous comment about Trevor Roy getting caught right now. 8 minutes left to go. So that's a send from Pierre Goosens up the inside, backs out of it there. I think discretion being the better part of valour there, and quite trying to get it from his countryman there in the form of Alders. But oh my goodness me, that could have been very, very difficult indeed.
That would have been so difficult to see as Nuno Ricciardo's got the move done now on Melvin Tyne. But with Pieter Hossen's move there, would you say there that he was trying to play with the spotter going through? Everyone in iRacing gets their spotter, and if you're ever so slightly behind, you might still get the too wide call from the spotter. Was he trying to force Edward Gross out the way by scaring him with the spotter call car inside?
Potentially, but I think more likely is the fact he wanted to send the nose up the inside, saw that was never going to happen here, and I think that was actually what we've seen from this and from the race at Lime Rock Park, is that better call of judgment from these experienced drivers here, Jake, is that ability to just pull out and think, actually, I'll maybe do it somewhere else in the lap here, something that we don't really see from public online racing. Fantastic to see, and this is what racecraft is. This is that real sportsmanship of being able to know exactly when to actually pull the trigger and make a move here.
Trevor Roy, untouchable at the moment, 5 seconds clear, but watch out in that group, second, third and fourth. Martin Sampson has been toiling. He's been doing the quiet hours in the meat and potatoes of this race. With 6.5 minutes to go, he has caught the back of Stefan Dumas, a podium on board for the optical driver who desperately needs one to book his place at Laguna Seca in 6 months' time.
And now it makes sense why we saw that switch between Camus and Dumas here. Dumas obviously acting as rear gunner just now. The problem is it depends on how much of a roadblock he's going to be to Sampson right now, because let's not forget Miles Owens back there in 5th position. He's just 2 seconds off of this little battle. He could easily get brought in and into this little fight as well. Still 6 minutes left to go, so there's still plenty of action, plenty of meat, as you said, on the bone here at Sonoma. And boy, oh boy, does it give us generously.
We got 2 cars in the pits. One's Rene Zegelaar, the other one's Tom Weston, and it's the 2 coming together which has caused it, because they've done something rather strange out there. I think they have tangled up through 3A and 3B, and just like that, their races are over because they've smashed their suspensions up. This part of iRacing's damage model, the updated version, as we focus with 3rd and 4th. The GSRC replay, we'll get a look at it. So this is what happens here between Weston and Zegelaar. Coming up the hill, they're scrapping for the piece of real estate. Look, it's a bold attempt of an up and under, but he's flying over the curb at the highest point of the circuit. No way he's going to stop that one in the air.
No, absolutely not. But that is the 3rd time we've seen that sort of moment coming up through that hill. It's always the car on the outside that's much slower, and it catches them by surprise on that inside line. Where they said that it's Melvin Tyne having a big moment there on the 29 of Alders here. So gets the position. I think it was Alders actually having the moment that just allowed Tyne to get through.
One snap of oversteer at turn 2. We're going to see that time, and again, Pieter Hossen's then trying to find room on Edward Gross. He's not going to get there, and all of a sudden the top 10 wakes up and realises, hang on a minute, there's 2 of us and 2 of you, and now look at this down the hill. Confidence abundant in Edward Gross. He can't get the run, and all of a sudden, wake up Michael Tanagretta. He might decide to get into the seat. He pivots off of the drag strip, looking for a move.
Yeah, this is starting to get spicy now. 4 minutes up the inside goes Tangretta, contact there. That forces the 56 wide of Goosens. That's going to leave him vulnerable to Maramon, who's on the back there. They still go side by side. Goosens on the inside there. No love given, no love lost between the 2 of them right now. But that is going to be the 45 of Tangretta that gets the position. A little bit firm, a little bit... well, on the edge, I think, there, and that is going to be another position as Maramon tries to go around the outside here. That is not gone well for Peter Goosens.
Oh, sneaking away through. Pieter Hossens was looking for 1. In the end, he's lost 2. By the way that he's tried to go out there and battle, there was no contact between them. Watch out for Martin Sampson as he tries to give Stefan Dumas a race with 3 and a bit minutes to go. Up the hill, Dumas is so aggressive on that inside, but he'll compromise the middle of the corner. Martin Sampson is looking for exits. He might have a run here to 3A. He'll stay out of it because he wants it over the top of the Vista if he can, and down into turn 4. That's a more decisive place to get it done. A closed corner with an easier overtaking opportunity.
And just like I said, here comes the triple threat now of Miles Owen now, who's just a second behind Sampson right now. So that was a 2-car fight. It's going to be a 3-car fight, and this might work out well for Dumas, because if he can just ease that car back into a 3rd car, he's now going to have to think Do I get that position, or am I going to have to defend from Owens as well here? 2.5 minutes, so it's still in the play for.
It is, and this is for a podium, and it's an important podium in the context. Big wide line taken. Is that too wide? There from Stefan Dumas, and suddenly we're side by side to the S's section. It's Dumas with half a car length here as they go through and pinched up over the curbs on the inside. Nowhere for Martin Sampson to go. Great avoidance bailing out of it, but he gets the run out of turn 9, and turn 8A, and now he'll get the launch through 9, but again, he doesn't have the confidence to go for it. Through at 10, and Miles Owens joins the scene for the Sweden SimRace Esports.
Yeah, here we go, 3-car battle then for that final step on the podium. Again, Dumas doing everything he possibly can to back that car right back up into Miles Owens here. And the thing is coming through that right-hander here, as we've got 2 to go, is that he might have went very, very wide, but he had that run out of it. In fact, there it is, the white flag is flying, so we are on our last lap here.
Yeah, and now they get a real sense as Barney the flagman has waited for one to go. It's now a case of Martin Sampson. Where do you look for the final spot on the podium? Do you go left? Do you go right? Do you go up, down, slantways? You'll try everything that the great glass elevator gives you, but is there going to be some room? No dices then at turn 4, and descending down the hill, David, it might just have to be 7 again is the greatest place.
I don't think Miles Owens is going to have a chance to actually make this move, as that's a big slide up the inside there, as that's another wide corner there from Dumas. We saw that last lap round here. Owens gets the cutback on the exit here. He's going to try and go to the outside of this left-hander. A little bit of contact here as well, as we're going to almost go 3 wide. Surely not, Jake, into this corner. That's going to be Martin Sampson up the inside. Bit of contact here, and round the outside goes Miles Owens.
That's not going to work. Whoa! Sampson's going to go into the wall and outside of the podium battle. That's a hefty shunt. In the final stages, Sampson will now have to limp his way home in the final stages, and suddenly it is all falling apart. It's going to be close. They head to the end, but it has been Roy of the Rovers stuff at the front of the field for Trevor Roy himself, rounding himself through Gilligan's Island. A checkered flag out at this stage, and we might just finish a little bit earlier than 25 minutes. He'll have time to weave and celebrate. Trevor Roy, untouchable.
Absolutely fantastic, but it's all about this fight for 3rd position.
God, that was close over the line. Get this, 600ths.
Unbelievable. And listen, they will be loving that. That was a great fight. Great that Miles Owen was able to bring himself back into that, because realistically I did not expect that. I thought honestly that it was going to be Sampson that was going to be up for fighting there. Again, I think that we look at the replay of that one, Sampson, I think, just caught himself on the inside there, little bit of contact, unstabilizes the car at the crest of the hill, and that is always going to be all over. That's always going to be murder she wrote for that one. What a fantastic qualifying, what a fantastic race for Trevor Roy as well, and crucially I believe that now takes him inside the top 30 for the points so far.
Yeah, and that top 30 is going to be important. Martin Sampson, a big kick. Stefan Elder will be the last driver heading to the line. So while he gets there, we'll read out the classified results then from this, the Division 2, or the Split 2 race, so to speak, out there. Trevor Roy, unstoppable at the front. He dominates by 6.5 over Mathieu Camus, with Stefan Dumas playing rear gunner. He finds himself then in 3rd position. Miles Owens almost had a way to sneak through, but he'll only find 4th, with Matt Tempest 5th and Ronald Moons up in 6th position. He could hold off Nuno Ricciardo, who will get a fabled 7th place, starting 16th on the grid, a gain of 9, with Patrick Alders in 8th, Melvin Tyne gaining 1 in 9th, and Edouard Gross dropping 2, making it 3 Dutchmen, 8th, 9th and 10th.
Michael Tangaretta then finishing in 11th position, just half a second ahead of Peter Goossens. Cracking little fight there. That also involved Pedro Maramon, who finished in 13th position. Sander Vera was fighting with Stephen Orrell. He takes 14th and 15th place respectively. Then it was Roberto Bruno in 16th position. Martin Sampson, after that last lap contact, finishes down in a lowly 17th position, with Mick Robinson finishing in 18th. Willem van Rassel, we saw, caught up earlier as well, 19th position position with Stefan Edler rounding out your top 20.
Just 2 more drivers who found themselves laps down. A contact between the pair of them, Tom Weston and Rene Zegelaar, both looking a little bit sheepish after this one here at Sonoma Raceway. That is Division 2, all wrapped up in the book. But we've still got one more race. It's your main event coming up, Division 1, and the big scramble for pole when Laguna Seca comes around 6 months from now. Sonoma will be back here. We'll be with you on the other side of this. Your main event for the evening. Welcome to Sonoma, and what a showcase we are about to jump in with. The best of the best are in town, and it's all about the points. Who can get themselves up on another level when everybody else is scrambling about, hoping that they have what it takes. This has been an interesting qualifying session with 4 minutes and 20 seconds to go, blazing around this California circuit. And you have to say, at this moment in time, David, it is as close as it can get up at the top. Top three are split by less than 200ths of a second.
15 cars within 1 second of each other. This is going to be a wild race. And if this is the main event here, Jake, then my goodness, we have had a very tasty undercard, as they would say in boxing terms. It has been a banger so far. Lime Rock for the club race gave us a brilliant stuff. I'd imagine pretty much all of these drivers here in this this top split, this top division here, will have been watching that second division race. They'll be getting intel on where the flashpoints are at the circuit here, because you can hot lap for days in this one and you can be very, very fast, but you have to learn how to race in the pack, and that is exactly what we saw in that first race. Great pole position time there, but 1/100th of a second back to Ade Koba, and as you said, 2/100ths of a second separating the top three is just absolutely ridiculous.
And three teams inside the top three, and they are the three main players. We go on board with Ray Lombardi here for MX5 Deep Dive as he tries to navigate his lap through turn one under the nationwide sign as they go on through, and you need to have a brain as big as Peyton Manning's if you want to have the opportunity to get it through. A missed apex at turn two isn't necessarily what Ray Lombardi needed as he goes through, but over the top of 3A, very much well within the lines. He drops down the hill for the middle sector. Ray right now is on defense, and he needs to recover that time to have any hope of a top 10 qualifying time.
He certainly does, and the problem is like I said earlier, you lose 0.2 of a second at one part of the circuit, you're going to be absolutely done in for as we go round through 6. Again, having to be so patient with the throttle as the car works its way out. You can get all the way over the right-hand side here and then making a way down through towards turn 7. It's a tiny little kink to the left-hand side, but that will cause problems in pack racing here. Late onto the brakes, double apex right-hander here at turn 7, and then we go through just this wonderful section. Again, reminds me of the Stefan Beloff S's at the Nordschleife for this bit here, because it's just, you know, really intense. You want to get as much speed through it as you possibly can here, through 8, through into 9 now, before we go on the run down into 10 and the final couple of corners of this circuit here, Jake.
Ray's getting a little bit of stick here from Yuanji Lin. Have you finished your outlap yet? He's desperate to go through. Only driver who is out there on circuit setting a flyer out there is Ray, and he's thinking about how hard he's had to push to try and get back forward. So Ray Lombardi, who threw a little bit of time away in the opening section, how has he recovered it back through? It's a 46.2. Unfortunately, it's down as 20th position, but he will start ahead of Kevin Lambert and Joel Singleton out there at this stage. So for Ade Koba in the Simify Esports car, he's going to be on the wrong side of the front row of the grid. What a time by 5-Star Racing's Nicholas Goebel.
Absolutely fantastic. It's so close up there, but again, what we've seen is that it's all very well being able to put in a fast time. You have to be able to hold that up. Now, he will take solace in the fact that we saw that incredible performance, as we saw also in the YouTube chat, Gandalf720 agreeing with that, saying, you know, great drive, Trevor, flag to flag. Trevor Roy doing that, you know, pole position and getting the race win comfortably as well. That's exactly the energy that Nicholas Goebel is going to be hoping to channel right now.
Ade Koba getting some extra practice with this half a minute remaining in qualifying. Everyone has set their laps, so for the final time tonight, we can take ourselves over to the Simify starting grid. Simify is your one-stop shop for all your sim racing gear. You can choose from iconic brands and mix and match for the best way to get your leg up on the competition. Simify is a company that ships worldwide and also has 2 sim racing centres, one in Madrid, one in Barcelona, dedicated to improving your sim racing skills. You can head over to www.simify.com/MX5WSS to have your discount applied automatically on your sim racing purchases today. Nicholas Goebel will be on pole position with Ade Koba, El Capitan Fantastico himself, alongside David Terron starts third, with Jaume Dalmases in fourth. It's Spaniards second, third, and fourth. It's an Adnan Grosdanic fifth, and Jason Cooper in 6th position, with Alberto Blanco and Dylan Da Costa in 8th place. Yuan Jilin, the Chinese driver, starts 9th. He's got David Chapman for company. He starts 10th.
Just outside the top 10 then, it's Jameson Sampaio on 11th position, lined up alongside Albert Palahi on that row 6. Row 7 is going to be Lincoln Fox in 13th position, Per Sandberg in 14th. Jack Vasey is on row 8 alongside Philip Scarfagno in 16th position. Then in 17th, Nuno Ferreira is on row 9. He'll be alongside Francesco Sanchez in the 63 in 18th position. 19th position is Ian Bremner, and he'll be alongside Ray Lombardi. That rounds out your top 20.
And the final 2 is Joel Singleton and Kevin Lambert. So that will be those 2. Now, Jack Veazey's connection has dropped just before the start of this race, so he's going to miss the grid and possibly miss a lap. Worst time to have it happen is right here on the start. They've got 2 minutes, so Jack's got about 30 seconds to get back in and gridded. I think he's going to miss it in terms of getting on through. Also waiting for Ray Lombardi and Franco Sanchez, the Peruvian, to jump up onto the grid in this time as well. Conditions exactly as they were for Division 2, so complete connection as they go through is going to be key. But Goebel, who took a perfect drive last time out, will have Ade Koba alongside him. His teammate David Terron in third is going to be key. Watch out for the team battles out there, because Zenith 5-star and the Lone Wolf, of course, of Ade Koba in Simify colours is going to be worth seeing. Lights on, lights out, let's get going at Sonoma, and it's a great start by the reigning champion Jaume Dalmases, immediately looking for third position against David Terron, his compatriot, up the hill towards turn 2. Goebel clear, Ade Koba brave on the brakes, just about holds it in line, single file through the first 8 to 10 drivers. It's scrapping around Dylan Da Costa and Jameson Sampaio.
Yeah, top 10 are very, very line astern. They're taking it nice and easy outside of the top 10. It is an absolute battle royale. Fortnite would be proud of this action at such an early stage, just 4 corners in, and they are already knocking lumps out of each other. And this is exactly the sort of racing we love to see here. We're looking at Zhangji Lind there in 8th position, just chasing down Blanco in that number 6 car just in front. Again, they'd be very wise just to take these first couple of corners here, first couple of laps, let the cars settle in, let themselves settle in as well, let the cars come to them, and then, you know, give it a couple of minutes here, Jake, and then they can fight. But for just now, just get the tyres up to temperature and get yourself, get the adrenaline levels back to a normal level.
Joel Singleton searching around the outside as he goes through. Jack Veazey has got himself out and going, but he's half a lap down already. Ade Koba already looking to search. It's around his birthday month, so he'll be looking around for points if and where he can soon. And now he realises with David Terron, who is there just behind, so now you get a real sense of who's going to want to be there. Nicholas Goebel played a perfect game at the front last time out we were racing, and now he's got Ade Koba, who of course has 1 round missed, and those two, 13th and 12th respectively, are prime candidates to battle for pole position when Laguna Seca comes around.
Yeah, but keep an eye on your championship leader as well. Dalmases down there in 3rd position, leading the championship by just around about, 36 points.
He just ran a little bit wide, had a huge moment coming up into turn 2, a bit too much turn and brake. He saved it, but crucially, it's given Nicholas Goebel 0.6 of a second.
Certainly has. It's starting to streak away a little bit now, but again it's under braking there where Ade Koba can really pull that car back in. And for me, I wouldn't be wanting to stretch away at this point in the race, because Koba definitely has the pace to stay with them. Instead, send them all back into each other, let them all fight amongst themselves, and then get the run here just out. Because look again, Koba, this is what happened just a couple of moments ago. Koba was staying with your race leader here, but Dalmas is still able to regroup there after that big moment and catch on to the tail end of them.
Dare I say it, the entire field is within a second with the exclusion of Jack Veazey and Ray Lombardi. So you get a real sense right now, this is a 20-car battle for the race lead.
100%, and look at them. Whereas race 1, we saw them into the little pockets very quickly within 4 or 5 minutes here. We're not seeing that here. We are starting to see it, maybe a little bit of a gap between Grozdanek and with Cooper here for maybe say sort of like 7th and 8th position. But yeah, other than that, my goodness me, it all just bunches right back up under the braking, and that's a get out of jail free card already being used at such an early stage there. And I think that might be Lincoln Fox.
It was Alberto, it was David Chapman, who was running wide. Jameson Sampaio now desperate to get through on Dylan Da Costa, the older of the two Sampaios. Of course, he's the father to Enzo Sampaio, the son. But now Dylan Da Costa is suddenly in full defence right now against the CFPM Sampaio driver. Car off the road. That's the championship leader. Back to 7th. Back of the train you go.
Safe to say that he is not having a great start. That confidence is going to be absolutely rattled for Jean Dalmas right now. Championship leader, as you said. Now, crucially, what he's done is he's caught right back up to the back end of Alberto Blanco there. And so this 6-car train still, it keeps it onto a 7-car train right now. And he can start to piece things together. I'll be honest, I don't think this is going to be the last incident that we see for him. I don't know why, maybe he's over pushing the car at such an early stage here, Jake, but he is going to have to be careful here, because that confidence takes a hit and you're not going to be taking the same speed into these corners here.
Jaime Dalmases knows a thing or two about making his way back up through field, but the key here is David Terron. You can't let that gap extend over 1.5. The slipstream rubber band snaps at that point. It is hovering at 9/10 of a second, so David Terron has work to do to haul back in Ade Koba and his teammate Nicholas Goebel, and Nicholas would definitely want his rear gunner to come in and cause some havoc.
Yeah, and now we're seeing, as we said, that split going on, as that's very wide there from Blanco. With Kobe, that's now 4/10 of a second, and then David Terron is about a second behind them. So, wow, that is very wide there from Blanco. A little bit of bump and grind there. Jason Cooper just in front, showing how it's done. And again, it's that whole line, isn't it, Jake, between firm and fair, and Ade Koba taking the fastest lap of the race. He is on a charge right now, chasing down your race leader.
Now remember, these drivers would have got bonus points for top 20 positioning in terms of their pre-qualification times on the seeding day the week before the racing. So that would have decided who's in split 1, who's in split 2, and you get points for it, as Jameson improves. You also get points for gaining the most places in the race and points for the fastest lap. So keep an eye on that fastest lap. It will score them some bonus points between now and the end of the season.
Yep, as we see Dalmas is making a great move there on that number 5 car of Zhangji Lin. Fantastic move done up into turn 4. He's now got his teammate of Alberto Blanco just up in front. I wouldn't be surprised to see them maybe switching places a little bit later on, so he can then chase down Jason Cooper and Adnan Grozdanek.
Grozdanek has been the nearly man throughout this season. He's been so close to victories but unable to find them. Jaume back in 7th now after that move that he's gone through and made. But there is Ade Koba, and watch out, because David Terron, that gap was 9/10 of a second at the line. It's now down to 6, and it looks like there's been no split at all.
It certainly does. This is all getting very tight. I do wonder if Nicholas Goebel is just holding on to the tyres, making sure that he's got plenty of grip in the tank. He's maybe watched that first split here and watching how the times maybe dropped off a little bit towards the end of it here. Either that, or the pace is just so wild. The slipstream is so wild, which is very likely in these things here, because as you said, 1.5 seconds, that's the magic number. Well, outside that top 8, you ain't getting a 1.5 second gap right now. Everybody Murray is within that towing distance. It's all the way down to Dylan DaCosta where that toe gets broken here.
And multi-car one. Jaime Dalmases makes his teammate move aside for him. He's on a charge. He needs the points. He's got better pace. Blanco will hold off Yuanji Lin. Second group looks absolutely sensational at the moment when you got DaCosta still housing off Jameson Sampaio with Chapman, with Fox, Palahi, Sandberg, Scriffignano in there, Ferreira, Sanchez, Bremer, Singleton, all the way back. This group goes to 19.
Yeah, fantastic effort right now here. And Dalmases, has he dropped back down again? He has. So that's another mistake, another unforced error there, Jake, from Jean Dalmases to put him down into P8. What is going on with our championship leader right now?
He doesn't like the loose car. He just grabs it a little bit too late. Slightly needy in terms of being aggressive on the throttle. And just like that, 2 places gone. And they've actually, because they've been chopping and changing, that's built them a 2.5 gap. Jason Cooper and co, they're gone. Top 5 are fighting for the race win.
Yeah, that's absolutely ended any chance of them being able to chase up. It was the clip with the curb there, and then onto the brakes and the right-hander. Too much speed in that corner. The back end just washes out there, Jake. And again, so lucky to hold on to it, but that'll put him wide, and then the other 2 cars can just slip on the inside.
Top 5 right now. Mistake by Goebel. Goebel's had a huge mistake coming out of Gilligan's Island, and Alec Kober's side by side with him now. That was a mistake on power. We're starting to see it more and more. Here goes El Capitan Fantastico to the outside, and he'll try and navigate the inside at turn 2. So tough to hold it around the outside. And Nicholas Goebel on the flatter pass, going to get some drive for 3A, 3B. 10 on, Grosdanic and Cooper. Wait with bated breath, held by the German.
Absolute fortitude there from Nicholas Goebbels there. Absolute intelligence there to know that because Koba clipped that curb there and unsettled his car on the exit of the corner, he would be able to just hold it round the outside there. And to be fair from Koba, great racecraft as well to not force the issue there. The 2 could have had contact there. We've seen it time and time again through the previous race here, but the 2 of them know exactly it's all about the remaining 15 minutes here. But now we've got a huge battle here because Tyrrell is interested in this. Adnan Grosdanic thinks, oh, I could have a go here, and Doi Koba looks to the inside, but again, it's going to be a measured affair here. I do wonder if that was the pressure onto Nicholas Goebel there, Jake, just starting to show a little bit of the crack there.
Ale Koba is legendary. He was part of the famous Iberica sim racing team, which dominated the Iberian Peninsula in the mid-2010s. He's so good when he gets into rhythm and momentum. He is nigh on impossible to stop. But Nicholas Goebel has been a kryptonite to him, especially last time out. Gets a fantastic run. Oh, what a pivot! Down to the inside at Gilligan's Island, and has he managed to get it away? And Goebel will have to regroup as he loses the race lead.
Absolutely unreal, and have a look at David Tyrrell as well. I thought that was maybe going to be a move, but that's a great run out for Nicholas Goebel. He goes to the inside line, that forces Hideki Koba to the outside here, and that's going to be the position taken again for Nicholas Goebel. That's an incredible run out of that corner there to immediately take the lead and put Hideki Koba on the back foot right now. David Tyrrell has the real cards. This is incredible, and now there goes Blanco back onto the back end of this fight as well. Don't discount Jean Dalmases, who's now somehow got past Jean-G Lind again. Dalmases might catch back onto the end of this group and might still be in contention if he doesn't wipe himself out first.
Well, Jaime Dalmases is getting a huge reprieve at the front, and look all the way back for 18th as Joel Singleton now has to navigate through with Nuno Ferreira at this moment in time. Ewan Bremer is the one having to do a lot of defending down the hill through the long, agonising turn 6. Everywhere you look, it's sensational.
It absolutely is. Just top drawer entertainment here, and I get the feeling this is what we see here month in, month out, as that's another dive up the inside there from the 54 of Singleton. Tries to make it happen, but it forces him to the outside line. That's going to make him very, very vulnerable, and that is going to be a position as contact. That was
Lambert.
Well, yeah. Do you remember when I was saying it was all respectful and nice? That was less than respectful there.
Well, they were fighting for the same piece of real estate and not really much that either could do. Joel Singleton painted himself into a corner, not much there. Here's David Chapman. He's looking at Lincoln Fox at this moment for places, and Lincoln Fox on his day can have a sensational result. How close do you want it at Gilligan's Island?
Very late on the brakes there. Great awareness from Chapman to be able to get that car just slowed down enough but not losing too much momentum. I think putting all the pressure here on that number 27 of Lincoln Fox right now. Last lap there was a 146.808 from Fox. Last lap from Chapman was a 147.8 as we see Jamison Sampaio fighting it out with that number 11 car of Dylan DaCosta. So again, this is a cracking little battle, but they're getting caught up by Lincoln Fox as well.
Well, here's the thing. Jameson Sampaio cannot, for love nor money, find a way past an imperial iron wall. That is Dylan DaCosta at the moment, the number 11 right now, Frenchman. It's nigh on impossible to get by, and now here comes the backup that was not asked for by the group as they go through. As behind that, it's side by side as Albert Palahi will now lose out the spot to Franco Sanchez, the Peruvian.
Yeah, this is an absolute roadblock right now from Dylan DaCosta going at speed as this is a big fight as the Daycoba clatters the curb there. So close onto the back of Nicholas Grobel right now here. This is so intense here, Jake. No word of a lie, right? If this is what every single round of this top tier is like, I do not know how you are able to cope with all of this action here.
Yeah, Adekoba is just looking to unleash on the brakes, has to fall into line. He's got to be careful, Turon, as they bottleneck up through. Almost runs up the back of him, but patience will have to prevail as they are down under 11 minutes. Got to start being tactical about not just if you make the move, but when you make it.
It's all about being able to be patient here. For Daycoba, he knows that he's got to hold on, and not only is he wanting to make the move, but he wants to make it stick. He's now twice been in the lead and knows that Nicholas Grobel is an expert on getting that car on the cutback, getting the run out the corner, getting that position back immediately. There's no point taking the lead if it's immediately going to be snapped right back from Grobel. He might be wanting to wait until towards the end where he can make that count.
Jaime Dalmases is dangling at a second. He's desperate to get in on this action, but he just can't because these drivers are on rails. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 of them here in this group. No moves attempted by Teron, by Grozdanic, by Cooper, by Blanco, because they know it's all going to go into play in the final couple laps of this race. They are waiting for their ticket to the end, and again, in the mirrors, Adekoba is trying to force the mistake out of Nicholas Goebel, and he's not getting anything out of the cyborg-like driving that Goebel is producing.
Well, while these are fighting, you mentioned Jaime Dalmases there in 7th position there in that number 1 car, and he's already nearly caught back up to them. That gap was just over 1 second. It's now down to what, 0.5 of a second, so half a second to Blanco, who we know will very likely move aside. But again, they need to get concentrating on keeping on the back of this lead right now, as that's a move up the inside, Jake.
It is, but let's drive off the exit here if you can get it. And this is where you're going to have to be choice. Nicholas Goebel on the outside, leaving just enough room and drive off the exit. Adekoba is isolated at the front of this field, with David Turon giving him no help because he's a 5-star teammate. And any time that there's going to be trouble, you know who Turon's going to push in a drag race. It's going to be Nicholas Goebel.
Yeah, 100%. And the thing is that it does look like Goebel is deliberately keeping that pace a little bit slower than he's actually able to right now, because he wants to keep something in the tank for the last 5 minutes of the race for when he actually needs them. That's the reason that Daycoba is able to just completely close up on the brakes here right now. Goebel wants to push Ade back into that mix there because he knows he can't do it, or maybe he's hoping that that actually happens there.
That's the switch then in 6th position. That's Jaime Dalmases through on Alberto Blanco twice. He's moved over for the reigning champion to give him an opportunity to scrap back with Cooper, with Grozdanic and co. And that's going to be big in terms of how they go. Adekoba wearing Nicholas Goebel's shadow like a lovely hooded cloak at at this moment, but there's no point wearing the shadow if you can't step into the limelight.
8 minutes left to go though. This is now where it needs to count. This is now where the move needs to be done by Dacoba. He is glued to the back end, as you said, of Nicholas Goebel. Looks to the inside there. Very, very close to size to pull out of it at the last minute. Here comes Teron as well. It's that's a move up the inside.
Again, they try it, and once more he works the Oracle. He's so narrow into the corner. Goebel has to open the steering, and Dacoba snipes the race lead away once more. But now you've got two 5-star cars working to try and get by you. Goebel's not giving this one up. Angles to the inside. Oh, the door left open by Dacoba through turn 1. They'll scrap to 2 where the inside is Ade's, and suddenly Goebel's trying again. Outside of Cooper tries down Masses. Goebel has the inside for 3A again. He'll go for it again, but Ade round the outside. Oh, you betcha. Little bit of contact they go through. Goebel hands it together. The concertina comes in. Jaume to the outside. Grosdanic there 3 wide. Shoves out Jaume.
And again, Jaume sent backwards at a rate of knots. He has not had any luck whatsoever. Jason Cooper trying to hang it round the outside into that 5th position there. Can't quite make it happen. That's going to be the position given over to Grosdanic there. Keep an eye on Nicholas Goebel there, because that is not over right now. Jason Cooper will get that position back. Sent it up the outside there. Great manoeuvre back at the P4, as that's the number 1 of Dalmas is trying to sneak up the inside as well, and it's all getting a little bit messy now. But again, what an amazing top tier race we've got here at Sonoma.
Like a 2-tier Oklahoma barbecue, the stakes are raised. This is going to be a massive race here as they go through towards the end. 3 clear at the front. Dacoba trying to hold off the tandem duo of Nicholas Goebel and David Teron. And here goes Nicholas Goebel with a thought to the inside. He's not going to win that one, but look how narrow. He hugs the curb as he goes through, hugging the rear bumper right now. This is massive between these 8 at the front, and soon, if they battle like this, they'll bring Jason Cooper and co back to the fray.
They certainly will. Goebel gets the run, has to ease out the power there. That's early onto the brakes for Kuba to try and settle that car down. Goebel gets the great run out of 2 here, but again, it's just when do you pull that manoeuvre, when do you pull the pin on that grenade right now. Goebel hasn't been in this position all through the race right now. Now he's under that pressure to try and force a Dacoba into a mistake here. But again, with Koba waiting so long, has he waited till the right moment here, Jake, to pull this off?
And we talk about mistakes. At this level, oh, how deep do you want to go? Nicholas Goebel throws one in, but Dacoba just has enough wherewithal to open the steering up. A gift almost descending from the heavens for David Teron. But Nicholas Goebel, that was un-Goebel-like, the way he was going to throw it, and it forces Ade to a defense. Our move, back to the inside. Ade's got drive.
Wow, what a potential move that was for Nicholas Goebel there. I honestly thought he had that there. He timed that to perfection. A 3,000 IQ driving going on right now from Goebel. He's forcing a Dacoba in exactly where he wants him by manoeuvring the car on these straights here and then getting him exactly to brake where he wants to. And this is going to be a banger of the final 4 minutes of this race here. Do not know exactly how this is going to go round here, but I do know at least one of these top 7 cars is not going to finish this race. It's just been far too chaotic to see that. Goebel trying to get a good run, but I think it was Koba actually with a better run out of that corner there. The gap going up is not going to be enough to get the toe slipstream run just now, but again, give it another lap or so, we could see Goebel trying to make this move again.
Well, if they don't care about who wins this race at 5-star, they can relay these attacks. Jaume Dalmases definitely cares, but his brand of chaos has been how quickly can I get back up and start causing nuisance. Adnan Grosdanic, his main rival in the championship at the moment, is his port of call to get by first, but it's Dacoba keeping the weight of the 5-star world behind him because Jason Cooper now in 4. Talk about that on the back, 0 luck. Adnan Grosdanic wearing it as a badge of honour.
He certainly has. He's been caught up in a brilliant fight all the way through the race with Jason Cooper, and the two of them just still in the pound seats right now to scoop up whatever happens with this top 5 right now. Brilliant race, some huge points as well. Let's not forget for this championship coming out of this top tier race at Sonoma as we come into the halfway point of the season. This has been an absolute classic here.
This has been another one of those instant classics that we see here in the Simify MX5 World Sim Series. It seems like every single race this season has lived up to billing, and just like that, Ade Koba leading the way to the world behind him. Goebel, Teron, Cooper, Grosdanic and Dalmases, a small gap to Yuan Jilin, the 4th of the 5-star card. Alberto Blanco's dropped off the back of this group. It's a long way to go. We have to note a couple drivers are out of this race now. As a look to the outside goes Nicholas Goebel. This time he can't find it. The two out, Lincoln Fox and Jameson Sampaio, you would suggest together.
No, but crucially, he's stayed much closer to Koba coming out of this. He's right on the back of this car. This is where he's made it work so often. Moves to the inside here, forces Koba out here. And Koba's going to try and have that inside line. But again, I think Goebel's just ahead enough to possibly make this happen here.
Just a tiny bit of contact and a warning shot fired by Ade Koba. Do not try around the outside of 2. And as the bottleneck comes through, Jaume's going to go for one here on the inside. Steals one on Adnan Grosdanic. Now he's up to P5 and starting to work through, but is it too little too late for him? Ade Koba now got his elbows out and suddenly he says, we're done with Mr. Nice Guy. Gone are the pleasantries. Out come the knuckle dusters.
This is surely going to have to be the penultimate lap of the race here, because with time ticking by, 1 minute 10 seconds left to go here, Goebel really cannot afford to leave anything on the table now. He has to measure it up. He has to try and make a move on Koba to try and make this happen here right now, or he's going to have to settle for second place. That looked like a little bit wide there from Koba, but I think that was a measured performance there, as behind him all hell's at the kickoff.
Yeah, that was Dalmases trying to get cheeky on Jason Cooper. He's been uber aggressive all race, and I'm not sure it's paid off for him. But now, here's your question, with a lap and a bit to go here, David. What do you do if you're Nicholas Goebel? When do you strike?
Now. Coming into that hairpin, coming into 7, I think is going to be the best opportunity, or even coming out of the final corner, getting the run and just forcing that car out wide, just so close there. As there goes Goebel.
It's Jason Cooper who's been turned around. A chain reaction as they all went through. It was a case of Jaume trying to defend. Grosdanic with the big tap in the end that causes Cooper to go around. He'll drop back to 8th place as the white flag comes out. It's Grosdanic through on Dalmases and up for the race lead. Ade Koba now desperate on defence. Goebel's trying to find the inside. He's trying to magic a move up like a rabbit out the hat. He's not going to get that there. But now through 3A and 3B, he's got to compose himself, and time is of the essence if he wants to get this race win. Ade Koba in defence has been magnificent. Off the road goes Jaume Dalmases. His points haul today is not going to be what he hoped to see. But now heading towards turn 6, Ade Koba has himself a car length, and Nicholas Goebel's not in position for the prime place to get this one done. He's going to need to find something out of the heavens. A bit of help from David Teron maybe might just get this one done and over the line. Gilligan's Island will await because 7's not going to get it done. And now hug the curb as much as you can and get the drive off the exit, Nicholas, if you want a way to stop Ade Koba. These two have been 2 different styles of driving, 2 amazing drivers, but one of them can win this race only as they rush now through 8A and now towards turn 9. 10's going to be the big one. Nicholas Goebel keeps it tight, but Ade Koba still has the car length and a half. This is going to have to come from leagues back if you're Nicholas Goebel, and I'm not sure he's got enough in the back pocket. Grosdanic might try and steal a podium. There's nothing there. Drive off the exit is not there. El Capitan Fantastico is at it again. He is simply magnificent, and he wins it at Sonoma.
Unbelievable stuff there, as we saw a change there for Lynn and Grosdanic. And what the hell happened to Dalmases again from the last lap there? That was an incredible fight there. But I want to know. I mean, Dalmas's was up in that fifth position or fourth position, if I'm not mistaken, and then immediately went all the way back down to P7. So Dalmas's has been his own worst enemy, I think, in this race.
Nicholas Goebel, after the checker flag, gave Ade Koba some afters. I've never seen that out of Nicholas Goebel before, and that is massive in terms of the context of this race. Or how incredible is the Simify MX5 World Sim Series? We're stepping aside for one moment. We'll come back with results after this. It's all respectful until the chips are down. Your top two today at odds with each other. Ade Koba got the elbows out, and it was enough to give him 0.3 of a second. Enough of a win over Nicholas Goebel. A strike back in his momentum, as these two will go all the way to Laguna Seca to try and prove they're better than the rest. David Teron will finish up in third, with Yuan Jilin fourth, and Adnan Grozdanic getting another consecutive finish inside the top five. Alberto Blanco would finish sixth after moving over twice for Jaume Dalmases behind him. He will finish ahead of him. Jaume having a very aggressive, but ultimately not the day he was hoping for kind of day. Jason Cooper would be spun with a couple laps to go. Down at Gilligan's Island, he would pick up 8th ahead of Dylan DaCosta, who had a lonely race after losing a couple drivers behind. Albert Palahi will sneak inside the top 10 and further cement his place inside the top 40.
And despite all the focus being on that top 7, there was a huge battle outside the top 10. Per Sandberg finishing in 11th position, Ian Bremner in 12th position, Ray Lombardi finishing ahead of Joel Singleton, 13th and 14th place for them. It was then Philip Scarfagno in 15th position. Nuno Ferreira was 16th position with Kevin Lambert in 17th. 18th position for David Chapman, 19th position for Jack Weezy after that contact in 19th position. Franco Sanchez in 20th position, 3 laps down, and then in 21st it was Jameson Sampaio and Lincoln Fox. We lost 8 laps from the end. But Jake, 5 Spanish drivers in that top 10, that'll do the team's championship a world of good.
It certainly will, but what is a race like this? The tempers flaring at the mid part of the season. We're going to jump in with Nicholas Goebel. Let's talk about that moment on the final lap, the elbows out, and to you, with 1 lap to go, 2 laps to go, do you feel like the racing was fair between you and Ade, the way that the elbows were out and how aggressive Ade was being towards the end of the race?
Yeah, well, let's say maybe I feel a bit ripped off. I don't know to say it, but I'm German and I know a softer way to say it. Yeah, I got loose over the crest, turn 2, I think American right-hander over the crest, and Ade tapped me there twice when he went for the overtake. He tapped me on the rear right. I lost traction, I lost drive, and therefore I had no chance to keep the position, and he kept the position, which was surprising for me. And honestly, at a track where it's so hard to overtake here, I tried to not make any contact at all. I gave him all the space. I would have had a nice run on the outside, but I don't know. Let's say I feel like I could have had P1. I should have had P1, but in the end, P2. That's what it is. I know that Ade is a super clean racer, and I still have to review the replay again to see what all happened. But I got that tap on the rear right twice at exactly that corner, and it didn't really feel like a clean overtake to me. But yeah. It is what it is, I guess.
It is what it is. You made your feelings known there after the checkered flag there, giving him a little tap after the end of the race. So clearly your temper's running high there. But in terms of what it means for you, this championship, you've come into it. Yes, you got 1 round that's missing at the moment, but you're constantly up there. The entire team is showcasing what it's made of. All 4 of you up there in that front group. Just how crucial is it having a group of so many talented drivers that can give it a go at the victory each and every week?
It always helps. Let's say like this. Of course, it's also very nice to practice with the guys to see what lap times they are doing. And we're not practicing together. Just everyone's posting their lap times, and we can compare data. But that's already helping a lot. And in the races, it's always nice that I think when I had the battle with Ade, David went off the throttle, I think 2 or 3 times just to help me slot in again, to give me the possibility to go for another run. And surely wouldn't have had that chance. So yeah, thanks to David in that case. Thanks to the whole team. They're all really great people, and I always enjoy driving with them. So yeah.
It came down to a lottery in terms of drafting who would have the run where. It's going to be a lot more of a lottery next month when we go out and racing on the 23rd of June. It's Monza that comes up for you. How much of that is going to be helpful, having a team with so many long straights to have the ability to just launch attacks into the likes of the Rettifilo?
Yeah, we'll have to see. we haven't really practiced bump drafting. I know that in Watkins Glen, I think I got pole position there, and Jaume and I think Alberto Blanco just drafted past me on the main straight, on the back straight, cleared me there. So maybe we'll have to practice that, but surely, I mean, Monza, it will be a whole different game, so we'll probably need to practice some drafting and just wait for the last lap battle. That will surely be entertaining for you guys to watch, and yeah, let's see how it turns.
Well, let's see indeed. Before we let you go here, Nicholas, the floor is yours. Anybody you'd like to thank? It's a P2 finish here today at Sonoma.
Yeah, once again, I'd like to thank the whole 5-star team, all really great people. So that's my main thing I want to address again. So yeah, thanks guys. I'm having a good time with you, and yeah, on to many more nice races. Thanks.
Well, here's hoping that the next race is more in the 5-star camp for Nicholas Goebbels. Second position, though, is no slouch. He continues his march towards the race at Laguna Seca in December. A massive, massive seismic shift in the dynamics of the interpersonal rivalries that we've had here today, and one which you can smile from ear to ear with. Before we take ourselves over to close, David, oh my word, are we in for a treat? Monza next time out is going to be one of those circuits that you sit down and say, it's anyone's.
It really is, and now we're starting to see the fireworks come out. We're starting to see the claws come out, Jake. The friendliness is starting to slip away here as this is now starting to settle in how important these rounds are, how important these points are. And as we go through to Monza, to Knock Hill by Phillip Island, it's going to be an absolute bloodbath. It was a huge, huge privilege to be part of this tonight, and my God, what a championship.
What a championship indeed. And you also have the chance to sign up at any time and join in if you're seeing this for the first time. Want to give a massive thanks to the crew here today who's got this one done to you. From David, of course, from Daniel, and from Dougie. I want to take a moment to talk about the equipment that has been used to bring this show over to you, which I'm sure that you will be able to find on your screen in just a moment. And of course, you've got a big opportunity here to listen to the music brought to you by June Lalonde. You can catch her stuff on Bandcamp if you haven't had the chance to already. Across your screen, right around now, is going to be all of our upcoming broadcasts here at the Global SimRacing Channel. Mark them down in your calendar if you haven't had the chance to already, and make sure that you're tuning in to some of the greatest sim racing you can find in the world. You can also follow us on our socials, be it Twitter-X, be it Facebook, or be it Instagram there. You got a merch store as well, gsrc.storenvy.com. But as tempers flare underneath the Californian sun, it is one El Capitan being fantastico again. Ade Koba got his elbows out. He proved that he's got worth in abundance, and he says, it's my championship. I want to rest away from Jaume Dalmases, who will need to bounce back and find form when Monza comes into play. The Club Series will also have some amazing racing on the horizon too, to keep in mind. They will be heading to Alton Park. But until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you at Alton, and we will see you at the Autodromo Nazionale di Monza.